Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. It's KT's Journey and I'm Kiki. How y'all doing today? And before we get started, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe down below and hit that notification bell so that you know when I upload new videos. Today I'm going to be talking to y'all about my labor and delivery. And to start off, yes, I am really comfortable tonight. It's kind of late, so I'm already in my PJs, you know, and that's just real. My baby on the couch sleep right now. She was sleeping in her bed, but she came out of there and came to the living room where I was at, so I just laid her on the couch right now. But I got this little bag because I wrote some little points on it because I didn't want to forget anything. But this is going to be my labor and delivery story. Dallas' original due date was March 28th, which was the day after my birthday. And she ended up coming on the 25th. But leading up to that, at 36 weeks, I went to my checkup. At 36 weeks, and I had already dilated 2 centimeters. And so at this point, being a first-time pregnancy, I was like, ooh, this is happening so quick. I'm probably gonna go in labor this week or next week. That's not how it worked. But I did dilate 2 centimeters at that checkup. And then I went back the following week. And I had not dilated at all. I was still at 2 centimeters. But that Saturday, at 37 weeks, that Saturday, I did lose my mucus plug. Because my doctor had been telling me to watch out for losing the mucus plug, and I did end up losing the mucus plug at 37 weeks. At week 38, I was over being pregnant. Me and my doctor had our appointment that Wednesday. And I remember going in there and she was like, well, what do you want to do if she doesn't come on the 28th? And I was like, I don't want to be pregnant for another 2 weeks. You know, I'm not trying to be pregnant for another 2-3 weeks at all. That's not what I want to do. So she and I discussed that if I didn't go into labor by the 28th, then on Saturday, she would induce me because she would be the on-call doctor at the hospital. So she was like, I'll induce you on the 28th. And I was like, that sounds great to me because I didn't want to be pregnant way past my due date. I just didn't want to do that. And by this time, you know, I had already started walking. So every day that week, with week 38, I was like going to Walmart, going to Target, walking around Walmart and Target for like 45 minutes. And I did that because my husband worked nights. And I felt like, as crazy as it sounds, y'all, I felt like if I went to Target or Walmart and I walked around, if my water broke or I went into labor, that I would be around people and someone would be able to call 911 and I would get an ambulance to come get me because I didn't want to walk around the neighborhood or be walking down the trays, the little walking trays, and go into labor and be by myself. So I went to the store, and I think that Monday or Tuesday, something like that, I started walking. I take that back. I started walking like week 37. So that Monday or Tuesday of week 38, I remember telling my mom, like, you know what? I'm going to go in labor this weekend. Watch. I was like, I had a dream. I'm going to go in labor on Saturday. And then my dream, I really did go in labor on Saturday. I had like woke up in the middle of the night and my water had broken in the bed. It was so dramatic. And that's not at all how my labor started, but it was on a Saturday. And she said, stop saying that, but you're really going to labor, because my mom had plans of coming down like that Monday of, I say week 38, y'all, I mean week 39. Yes, all this happened on week 39. During my last week of pregnancy, my mom had plans of coming down on Monday to be here for the birth. And I just remember telling her I'm not going to make it that long. I told my husband, I was like, you're off on Thursday. Thursday, I want to go walking. And so that's what we did. We walked around the neighborhood. We took the dogs and we walked and we walked and we walked until I couldn't walk anymore. And I was just exhausted. And we came back to the house. Friday, I did my usual. I went back to Walmart. I walked around for 45 minutes and I came back home. And then he came home Saturday morning from work because he was on nights at the time. And he came back Saturday morning and oh, and another thing that I did, don't let me forget, another thing that I did do during this time was I had an exercise ball, and I would like rotate my pelvis and bounce on the ball and things like that to try to induce labor naturally at home. So I did do that, and that really did help, in my opinion. So Saturday he came home from work probably about 6 o'clock, 6:15, somewhere in between there, and I just couldn't sleep. I already was up because I was having stomach pains, and I just felt like I had been having the last 4 weeks or so. I had been having a lot of pelvic pressure and a lot of pelvic pain, and my baby sat on my sciatic nerve in my back, in my lower back, so I was always in pain. And that morning, I was like, I just can't sleep. I'm fixing to get up and clean the house. I just felt this urge, this burst of energy. I was like, I'm gonna get up and clean the house. So I got up and I just started cleaning up, y'all. I was like washing dishes, doing laundry, mopping floors, sweeping, cleaning the guest bedroom, cleaning the bathroom, everything. And I was probably done cleaning by like 9 o'clock. And I called my mom. Keep in mind, y'all, while I was washing dishes and stuff, I was having contractions, and I just felt like I was having Braxton Hicks because they were like 1 every hour or so. So I remember calling my mom, and I was like, probably about 9 o'clock, I was like, hey, I just cleaned the whole house, and my stomach's been having all these cramps and things like that. And she was like, oh God, it sounds like you're going into labor. And I was like, oh, probably not. I don't think so. And she was like, just keep me posted. So my husband got up by this time, and he was like, I think you're in labor. And I was like, you think so? Nah, probably not. I'm just having Braxton Hicks. I have a lot of pelvic pain, and that's probably all it's gonna be. Y'all. Then I tried to take a nap. Why I did it? I tried to take a nap, and I was having major contractions at this point, y'all. And it was like every 40 minutes or so. I got up, I called my sister, and I was like, I keep having these Braxton Hicks, I've been going on all day. Like, they started out every hour, now they like every 45 minutes. And she was like, them ain't Braxton Hicks, sis, you in labor. And I was like, you think? And she was like, I know you're in labor. And I was like, oh goodness. So I called my mom, and she was like, okay, I'm on my way. Keep in mind, my mom was coming from 6 hours away, y'all. And I'm pretty sure she made it here in like 4.5, 5 hours. Sorry. Don't hit the button. Did you hit it? Mm-hmm. Okay, so she was driving like 4 or 5 hours away. And 6 hours away, but she made it here in like 4.5, 5 hours. I'm not even gonna lie to you. And I was steady having contractions, and I did use the medicine ball on the floor. I rolled around and like put my hands on it and like rolled my chest and stuff around in circles and circular motions, and like rotated my hips and things to help me breathe and get through the contractions. And I found that really, really helpful. And by the way, shout out to the people on YouTube, because that's how I figured out how to do that and help with contractions, and it really did help with contractions. I have watched a couple of people use them on YouTube, and I was like, I'm gonna try this, and it really was helpful. And definitely something I'll do again whenever I do get pregnant again. I'm definitely gonna use the exercise ball again. But I ended up getting into the tub probably about 5 o'clock that afternoon. I ended up getting in the bathtub and just sitting in the tub and trying to relax to help alleviate some of the pain and pressure from the contractions. And sitting in the bathtub did help. I kid y'all not, I called my mom on the phone, and she was like 2 hours away, y'all. And she made it here before my sister made it here from the coast. And my sister is literally 1 hour and 15 minutes away, and my mom will be here again. I got out of the bathtub, and my mom was like coming through the door. And my husband and I kind of looked at each other like, how'd she get here that fast? But needless to say, my mom was driving like 90 plus to get here. Because she was scared she's gonna miss something. And I continued to labor here at home. My sister came, my mom was here, my husband was here. He was like, should I go to work or should I stay? And I was like, you know, it's our first baby. I could be in labor forever, so I'm probably just gonna labor here at the house for a little while longer. You can go ahead and go to work, and if something happens or I do decide to go to the hospital tonight, I'll call you and you can just meet me at the hospital. He was like, cool, I'll go. And my mom and my sister stayed, and I labored, and whenever I would have contractions, I would get back on the floor and use the medicine ball. And I remember my mom wanted to touch me on the back to kind of like help me, and I was like, no, don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me. My husband knew already I didn't want to be touched. I'm just not one of those people that if I'm in pain or anything like that, I don't really like to be touched a lot. I'm okay if I just know you're in the room. So if I feel your presence and I know that you're sitting here or you're sitting on the other couch or you're just in the room, that helps me. But I don't necessarily need you to be hands-on with me. I'm just not one of those people. So I was like, no, don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me. And she kind of felt helpless at that point because there was nothing that she could really do to help me. I didn't want her to rub my back. I didn't want her to touch me. And it wasn't being mean or anything like that, y'all. It's just, I'm just that way. If I'm in pain or something, I just like to be by myself because I like to get in my own zone and like focus on what I'm doing. And so I was focusing on my breathing. I was focusing on just trying to stay calm and trying to relax and get through each contraction. And so my mom was timing the contractions for me. And then they got to where they were like a minute or 2 minutes apart. And I was like, oh crap, you know, what do we do now? Do we go to the hospital since they're this close, or do we just keep laboring here at the house? You know, what do I do? What's the best decision? And my sister was like, well, if you feel like you need to go to the hospital, we'll go ahead and go right now. If you feel like you're comfortable staying at home and doing it some more, then we'll stay at home. Well, at this point, they were a minute apart, so I was kind of nervous. I was like, I don't want to have a baby here at the house, you know. So we went on to the hospital, and they checked me when we got there. They checked me, and I was at 4 3/4 centimeters, so I was almost 5 centimeters dilated. And I remember the nurse asking me, you've been at home all this time? And I was like, yeah. You know, I didn't want to not be dilated far enough and get here and be sent home. So I labored at home all day, literally, and didn't even know I was laboring the earlier parts of the day. But I had been laboring since like 5:30 in the morning at home. And it was probably about 10:30, 11 o'clock by the time I decided to go to the hospital. So my contractions and things were coming, and I dilated pretty fast. And y'all, in my mind, I was like, I'm not getting an epidural. When I got there, I kind of panicked and freaked out about the actual labor part of like pushing a baby out. So I did get the epidural. And a little disclaimer about that: the next time that I do have a baby, the next time I get pregnant, I'm definitely going to go the natural route. I'm definitely not going to get the epidural. And later on in the video, you'll understand why I made that decision. So we get there, I start dilating even more. Probably by 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock, I was dilated at 8 centimeters and my water had not broken. So they did go ahead and break my water because I was 8 centimeters dilated by 1 o'clock and my water didn't break. By 2 o'clock, I was 9 centimeters dilated. This is where the interesting part kicked in, guys. I got stuck at 9 centimeters. Do you hear me? Stuck for hours at 9 centimeters. And it was so frustrating because at the beginning I was dilating really, really fast. So I was like, ooh, you know, you get excited. I'm 9 centimeters. I'm almost there. 1 more centimeter and my baby is going to be here. 1 more centimeter, y'all. 1 more. Just let this 1 more centimeter. Let me make it this 1 more centimeter. Kid y'all not. She came back in at 3 o'clock. 9 centimeters. She came back in at 4 o'clock. 9 centimeters. Okay, we're going to put you in the cow stirrups to try to help bring her down to the full 10 centimeters. This is when they laid me on one side and put one leg up in the stirrup and the other leg was just laid flat. So the interesting thing about this is, if I was laying on my left side, then my left side was completely dead, but my right side was not. So I could feel all of my contractions on the right side of my body and none of my contractions on the left side of my body. And probably every 45 minutes or so, every hour and a half, hour or so, they would come in and they would rotate me over, and then I would be on the other side. Well, then the right side would be dead, and the left side I would feel all the contractions. And another thing that also happened was when I would lay on my right side, her heart rate would drop, so they would have to rotate me a lot faster, a lot sooner when I laid on my right side. So it was probably like if I was on my right side, I could only stay on that side for probably about 30 minutes. This went on till probably about 1 o'clock. 12:45, 1 o'clock. I've also had shift changes, so I have a new nurse and a new doctor. So the doctor comes in and he says, in 45 minutes to an hour, she has not come down anymore, you're not progressing, then we're going to do a C-section. In my mind, I said, this is not my plan, but I was pretty sure it was coming because I had been with my water broken since 2 o'clock. He was like, it's been too long and she's not coming down anymore. And he did reach his hand in there and try to readjust her to get her to come down, but because my baby was so long and my torso is short, there wasn't enough space for him to push her back and like readjust her. She had her hand pushing on my cervix, which kept it from dilating any further. So the doctor left out, and my nurse, who was wonderful, she came in and she said, you're not getting a C-section today, you're going to push. And I'm like, what? Say it again. And she was like, you're going to push your baby out, you're going to push your baby to 10 centimeters. You're going to start pushing right now. You can do this so you won't have to get a C-section. We're going to do this right now. And I was just like, oh my goodness, like it's happening. It's going to be real. I'm fixing to start pushing. But the thing is that our bodies naturally know how to push, but in my mind, I was like, how the heck am I supposed to do that? Like, and she gave me a couple options. Like I said, she was really, really awesome. So one of the options that I had was she held one end of the towel and I held the other end, and I would bear down on the towel and push and pull it to me and push down. Another way was I held my own legs and push, and then another way my husband held my legs and I like held the side of the bed. I preferred holding the towel, so we used that and I pushed. And I probably pushed for probably 45 minutes, and she kept saying, you're doing great, you're doing great. I can see her hair. She has a head full of hair. She has a head full of hair. And I was like, okay, but she ain't came out yet, you know. Mama getting tired, girl. You need to come on. And so my husband would look at him like, I can see her. She's like coming down and going back in. So I kept pushing and I kept pushing, and I pushed for, like I said, for about 45 minutes straight before she pushed down to the 10 centimeters. She pushed down, she was crowning, and I was like, okay. So then I pushed, and she was like, wait, don't push anymore. I'm going to get the doctor. And I was like, what if I feel like I need to push? Because I did feel like I needed to push. And she was like, well, if you have to, we'll deliver the baby right now. But if you can't hold it, let's hold it for the doctor. So he came in, and she was born. I did probably two or three pushes when he came in, but he did cut me. He did do a little cut, and so I did end up with 3 stitches because he did do a little cut to get her out. So I didn't tear her naturally. Like I know some people say that they tear naturally. I didn't tear her naturally. He actually cut it so that she could come on out. And in my mind, when I had my baby, like as soon as she was born, I was like, is something wrong with me? Because people cry, and I didn't cry, but I just like was overwhelmed, and I felt like, oh my God, it's a human. Like I had a human, and I gotta take care of her. I gotta keep her alive, keep her breathing. Like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? It's real. Like, she here, and I gotta keep her alive. And so my mind just running on like, oh my God, like I'm really somebody's mama. I'm really fixing, like I'm a mama. And it was just so surreal. So I had all of the emotions. I just didn't cry about it because like I guess my mind was just running and I was racing and I was so overwhelmed. It was like an initial like, it was probably like 2 days later before I actually looked at her and like cried a little bit. But y'all, because I was in labor for so long after my water broke, she ran a little fever, but before we even left labor and delivery, her fever broke. Mine did not. I ran a fever as well. And so I did stay in the hospital extra day. She and I both stayed in the hospital extra day. My doctor came the very next day and was like, you ran a fever last night. You ran a fever for a couple of hours before they could get it to break. So you're going to stay here today. You're going to stay an extra day just to make sure that you don't get any infections and that everything is okay. And I was like, okay. So we stayed an extra day. So we were in the hospital for 2 days before we went home. My labor, to me, was good. Yes, there was some bumps. Yes, I did get stuck for hours. And they did do everything that I can honestly say. I feel like they did everything that they could to try to prevent me from having to have a C-section, which is why I was in the cow stirrups for so long. And they did give me, I forgot about that. At like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, they did start me on Pitocin. And they were just trying everything that they could to help me labor vaginally so that I would not have to get a C-section. And so I was really grateful for that because I really didn't want to get cut. But the reason why I said no epidural next time is because I felt all of my labor contractions due to her getting stuck and me being in the cow stirrups. And I felt like if I could breathe and do things through those contractions, I could do it again. The only thing was that I did like with being able to move around in labor and have my contractions versus having to lay down in the bed and not be able to get up during those contractions. I didn't like that at all. So that's my labor and delivery story, guys. Post care was really, really good. I wasn't super sore afterwards. I did get a little lightheaded afterwards when I tried to take a shower. But as far as like feeling like I couldn't walk or anything like that, I didn't have any of those issues. Even when I did start to like regain the feeling and everything back, I was still able to like get around my house really well, move around, do things. And I felt like I could do things that I shouldn't do. Like I wanted to like do everything at home, and my mama was like, boo, sit down, take a seat, have a seat, have several seats. In fact, I'll take care of this, you just take care of the baby, because I felt like I could do anything that I wanted to do, you know, like Superwoman. But my body was still healing, so I did sat down like my mama told me to. But that's it for my labor and delivery story, guys. Thank y'all for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Y'all have a good one.